So you were at British Teen Champs of the weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
You had a couple of athletes there,
4 in total.
4 in total. Who did you have competing first of all?
So we had Ben Milner, Ronnie Summers, Seb Ellis, and then Orla.
Okay. And was this like the main competition of the year? Just yeah, give us a bit of a crack with it.
For most of them, not so much. You tend to find that with the youth, like any competition's a big competition because there's not too many of them throughout the year. So
Yeah.
you only really have like 4 or 5 events throughout the year. So any competition is a big one. But in terms of the athletes, like I was programming for, wasn't really peaking them for this specific competition.
Okay. It'd be good to kind of go through like, the big picture, the vibe of the event a little bit more. So yeah, what like because you've experienced what it's like at kind of adult competitions, you've been to like a good handful of, junior youth teen competitions as well now. What was the vibe there? Yeah, how does it kind of differ from maybe like an adult competition?
Yeah, well, the setup down there is really nice, to be fair. It's a really big, spacious gym. Um, perfect, perfect for holding an event, like it. And then you also had like that like community feeling a bit more. Like when you go to the bigger competitions, you tend to find that everyone just like stays in their own lane,
Yeah.
and just like sticks to the group they know. But what was pretty cool to see with the teens, especially because it's masters and teens across the same weekend, was like in the warm-up area, the teens were all chatting and getting to know each other. And like by the end of it, they sort of had made friends by the end of it, which I thought was pretty cool because you don't tend to find too many competitive CrossFit youths at the same gym. So they sort of are a little bit isolated, or they have to like make friends with the older athletes at their gym, which being a 15-year-old is quite daunting, obviously. So it was cool that they were all like chatting and talking about the workouts beforehand, chatting afterwards, and all congratulating each other and helping each other out. And yeah, by the end of it, did feel like they'd formed some friendships and some bonds, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
But yeah, the gym itself was lovely, and I thought one thing that was pretty cool was they had an event outside on AstroTurf,
Okay.
which was just a max out sprint. Essentially, it was just like a suicide sprint. But I thought it takes you back to like your like school athletics. What's the school sports days? That's it. Where it's just like a little bit of fun. That little tension's building. Everyone's like a little bit nervous because if you get a false start or you're a couple of seconds behind off the line, then that's the race gone. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool event to watch. But then it was also followed by probably the worst event of the weekend. That was just the soul destroying. It's just essentially sandbag for 12 minutes straight. So it was like the tale of two ends. They had like the most fun workout of the weekend, probably followed by the most grueling workout. Yeah.
When I went to Euros earlier in the summer for the juniors and masters, it was like quite a nice blend, really. Like you say, because the juniors, like, they're there. It's like maybe the first big competition that they've done. They don't know that many people, but it's like awesome how quick they do start to kind of chat and get on, and obviously that kind of means like a lot to them. Whereas with the masters there, like they're a lot more chilled, really experienced, and been doing CrossFit for like 10 years, probably older than some of the actual youth athletes competing. And because they're like kind of quite relaxed, it had like a nice balance to the atmosphere at the age group Euros like earlier in the summer. So it's kind of nice to see some masters like rubbing off a little bit on some of the youths and the different sort of energy and things like that, really. So yeah.
It was definitely cool to see like the masters getting behind the youth athletes and the youth athletes getting behind the masters. Some of them obviously like parents of the athletes, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, parents of the athletes competing in the Masters as well as the youngsters, or just like friends at their gyms, like their parents' friends at the gym sort of thing. But yeah, so it was pretty cool to get that blend, and I felt like it was a competition where the people were competing with each other rather than against each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, it wasn't just like you go in the warm-up area, you've got your headphones in, you don't speak to anyone. It's like serious game time. It was just a bit more relaxed, and yeah, people wanted to do each other to do well, and just taken a little bit less serious, which I think the adults could definitely learn from, because it's like, obviously if it's a big event you want to do well, but unless it's your job, it's like you're there to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, you want to do well and take it a little bit seriously, but you're paying to be there.
Yes.
You're paying to do the competition, so it's like you might as well enjoy that experience, rather than like you have a bad event and that's your whole weekend ruined then because you've had a stinker on one of the events.
You used to play basketball, didn't you? Like, it was, you know, when I was sailing, it was the case that you were going there to compete was the reason you were going, but then like the actual kind of social aspect really kind of it did just keep you in. Like when you're in that when you're that age, you look forward to going away for the weekend and, you know, competing and seeing your friends and all that sort of stuff. That's what kind of keeps you hooked in, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It is like that community and team aspect of it that is the more enjoyable side, especially with like basketball and maybe sailing. I'm not sure too much about sailing, but it's like the sport itself is like really fun and fast paced. But as CrossFit, sometimes you are like absolutely ending yourself in a workout sort of thing. So you want the outside of that to be the enjoyable part, almost, when you're dying on the floor sometimes isn't as enjoyable, or it's like you're doing 140k deadlifts in singles and it's like, oh yeah, this is
so obviously you had four athletes there that you were coaching. And you kind of said for some of them, like, this wasn't the main like competition of the year. So I guess, like, what was your main goal of the weekend? And then aside like from the results themselves, like, what was kind of the reason for the kind of athletes to be doing this competition as well?
Yeah, so I think the main thing is just having, although not necessarily peaking for it or it's like the biggest competition of the year, it's just good to get a touch on that, where their strengths and weaknesses are at, and you can get that in training for sure. But especially at the youth age and the younger age, it's hard to know what the field's level is actually at, like what the standard of the field is actually at, because there's not that many comps, and B, not that many people doing it. So just to get a standard of where they should be on like their lifting or where their gymnastics capacity should be at, it's good to do these comps. And it's like, well, we know that you've come first on the 3 gymnastic workouts and 5th on the lifting. All right, that's where we need to put our focus on them, because it's not the same as like the adult field. And obviously eventually they'll age out and go into the adult field, but even still, it's good to just get a base of where they're at. And then for me, as coaching them, we have the camps 5 times a year, so only get to see them 5 times a year in person, maybe sometimes a bit more. But then there's also another opportunity to see them in person, how they move, how they perform, how they strategize, how they like mentally respond to like the workouts. Are they good workouts, bad workouts for them? What works well for them in the warm-up area? And do they need to be calm, or do they need to hype themselves up? Are they better like having a strategy going in, or making it up on the fly and just like working out what works well for them, really?
What, like, off the back of like your experiences from this weekend, is there a bit of a theme starting to appear? Like, you know, is it the case where you've got to kind of handhold them quite a lot? You know, do you find that some of them are quite mature? Like, what's the sort of, again, the vibe of that?
Yeah, so the main one is for me was Ben's development. So Ben did Sid UK champs, what was that, 2 months ago
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I felt like at Sid that was like probably his second big competition other than Worlds last year.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of nerves going in, and then also like didn't really know how to strategize the workouts or approach them. And execute them sort of thing, and was like, oh, should I go unbroken on this? And I was like, no, let's not do that.
Lots of times. Should I go unbroken, Pete?
Oh, the amount of times I've had that, not even from you, some adults as well. It's like, shall I go unbroken? I'm like, yeah, definitely not. Although the best one is, shall I do legless rope climbs when there's like 12 rope climbs in the workout? Yeah, let's maybe not do that.
It's one of those though where like they've got to find out themselves sometimes.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you don't want to like wrap them up in cotton wool and just like give everything to them. And let them figure out.
Learn from it though.
Yes, this is it. So what was really nice to see at this competition, like rather than give them, we had a call on the Wednesday, just like going through the workout, again like what we'd roughly recommend. But at the end of the day, I always leave it up to them. I'll give them like what I think, but then like it's your choice. Like if you think you've got a better approach to this workout, then by all means do that. But what was really cool to see was, I think, the change in Ben's approach from Sid, where I feel like I probably had to guide him a little bit more, to this comp where it was just like every workout he knew I was gonna like break it up and strategize, and then like every workout was pretty much executed as best as possible. Like I would have been happy if an elite athlete had executed it like that, let alone someone so young, sort of thing. So it's like the other boys would go off unbroken, and he would just like split it up into 3 sets, and then pretty much by the third round in every workout, or like the 6-minute mark in every workout, he'd made it himself. Like everyone else started to drop off, and that's when he started to put the hammer down. And that was just really cool to see. Like there was one workout where I think he was, for the first 2 rounds, he was behind, and then just put his foot down, and then just pass them all, just from like the call we had beforehand, B, just like learning more in his training, like how to strategize and his pacings and his numbers and that sort of thing. And then also like from the camps where we've like put a real big emphasis on the strategizing of workouts and the pacing of workouts, and how in training sometimes it's like don't worry about the strategy and just go all out and see if you can hold on, and that's really good. But then for competitions, it's like working out, right, what are the numbers I can hold on to consistently, what paces on rowers I can almost recover at, and that sort of
let's kind of you've obviously talked about Ben quite a bit there, and you've worked with Ben for like a few, quite a few competitions. Let's chat about Seb and Ronnie in a little bit more detail then.
Yes. So Seb, I'm pretty sure he won like 4 or 5 out of the 8 workouts, which is pretty cool in and of itself. And I think for Seb, the main thing is when he's gone to the camps, is he's obviously a little bit younger, so he's the 14 to 15 age group, whereas most of the boys he's competing with are the 16 to 17. So comparatively, he's like, oh, I'm not that strong, or not that good at the ergs or whatever. But then what is cool to see from going against those boys and pushing himself against those boys that are obviously a slight bit more developed than him and older than him, from doing that, then when he actually competed against boys his age, he was pretty much wiping the floor with them in a few workouts, which was cool to see. And it's like the strength isn't, we say, is like his biggest weakness, but he won the strength event at the competition. So it's like, well, actually, compared to the people that you're competing against in your age category, you're actually like not that weak, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's and that.
Go on.
that's why, like, it is good to do these comps for that exact reason, where it's like, these are the boys you're going to be competing against in 5-10 years to come. And it's like, comparatively, you're actually one of the stronger athletes in the field.
Yeah. Because like Seb's coming off the bounce of like, he just missed out on going like worlds last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then at nationals again, he was kind of just outside that qualification place, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So he's
just that. Yeah, so he's hungry for it, which is cool to see. And he's definitely like, a shift has been put. You can see there's been like a shift in his training, being put in, and then yeah, just emphasizing, like, he almost he's a bit like myself, where he's not the most stable of people, not mentally but physically, but he's almost like stripped things down a bit in order to like work that up and rebuild, so that, like, yeah, the long term. And then I think, I'm not qualifying for these bigger competitions, he's just then had that time to work and focus on the things that he needs to be focusing on in order to then win British teams.
Yeah. For like Seb going into that weekend, for, you know, when you're kind of talking to him before it, what are the things that you're telling him? Like, what are the main things you wanted him to get out of the weekend? I know we've kind of touched on them already, but like, was it what? Yeah, what can you kind of?
Yeah, for the most part, it's just like, experience competing, because like I said before, there's not that many competitions, and also it's just like good fun to compete and to enjoy the weekend and the process, and just to see how the stuff we've been working on is developing and is getting there. And it's nice to see the rewards of that, because obviously, especially at that younger age, like, just missing out on those spots could just like break people, sort of thing. And well, I'm not going to make it, it's not for me, sort of thing. But I do belong here, like, this is where I belong, sort of thing. Yeah, having that, and then also just, yeah, getting experience competing and enjoying it.
With the workout, like, with the workouts that you knew, like, did you know which workout Seb was going to smash and which he maybe was a bit more nervous about, like, or again, like, unsure because of like not knowing what other people were gonna.
Yeah, so it was, you obviously have in your mind, like, all right, I know he's good at gymnastics, I know he's good at the bodyweight fitness, but the events I thought he probably wouldn't do as well in, he actually did surprise me, which was nice to see. And especially, one of them was Isabel into the heavy snatch complex. Mm-hmm. And his tactic before Isabel, he told me, and it was like, do drop, essentially like drop and go singles for the first 20 and touch and go the last 10.
Okay.
And I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure if that's the right decision or not. And then he's chipping away at there, and then he smashes out the last 10, and he lost out on that workout by like 2 seconds. He came second with like 2 seconds. Yeah. And then it was one of those where I was just said to him afterwards, I was like, what do you think? And he was like, oh, and it was just automatically like that, rather than like beating himself up or anything. It was just like more of a analytical mind, where it's like, oh, if I had held on maybe 12 or 13, or done it vice versa and gone the big set start and then gone the singles, like, could I have brought him up? So it's cool that even at that young age, they're still thinking like that, like, where can like these inches be made in these workouts, which obviously like we can tell them to do, but to actually like see it in action was pretty cool. Because he could like he could have easily just been like, oh, second place, I'm really happy with that. No, and he did. It was a good result for him.
Yeah.
But to see that, like, almost like that growth mindset, where he's like, oh, I wanna improve. Like, and he was happy with his performance, but always looking for those extra inches to be gained.
When I was chatting to, obviously kind of debriefed with Lewin and Evie after the games, and again, like, the conversations after are, you know, like, where if you were to do this workout again, where do you think you could go faster? Off the back of this workout, like, what can you do better next time? Or like, what can you focus on to make sure that like your lowest place finishes aren't your lowest place finishes next time? They're kind of like moderate place. And when they give you the answer of like, oh, I'm not sure, like I don't know, it's kind of like, well, what can you control? Like, what can you control now to start addressing what that weakness is? Like, if it's getting stronger, like, are you eating enough? What can you do to make sure that you're eating enough? Are you taking, your creatine or whatever it is? Are you doing all your kind of strength sessions? You come back to what you can control, and then again, like, the power feels like it's in your hands, and you can do something about it. There was one or two events for Lewin where, like, he had a judge, and it was the same one for both events that.
I did see. I was watching the live.
Yeah, didn't kind of go his. Yeah, he was getting no reps, and he was asking why, and kind of wasn't getting an answer, and all this sort of stuff. And then had the same one for this double under workout. And again, I think because he knew what this judge was like, he was probably a little bit tense, a bit angry, and like, oh no. So then kind of trips on double unders when usually double unders no problem.
It's pretty good.
So it's like, right, Lewin, okay, going into these workouts again, like, what do we learn? What do we learn first of all when we're in this scenario with a judge like that? Like, we don't tense up. We just kind of like be pragmatic about it. It's hard to do in the moment. We kind of stop. Like, do we quickly say to the judge, like, right, what is it that I'm doing? And can you give me an answer? Like, try and be more clear if possible. And then, going on to the double under workout again, it's, if the judge hasn't called that you've done enough, like, just keep doing your double unders. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly it. And that's regardless of age. It's like, you're not going to get anything from getting angry at your judge. Like, the likelihood is they're just going to no rep you all the more for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, even if, like, for my thing in competition, especially with double unders, it's like, I don't even bother counting how many double unders I'm doing. I just wait until the judge says you're done, because there's been times in the past where I've been judging someone or being judged by someone, and like, people get it wrong. Like, at the end of the day, they're volunteers. But especially with something like double unders, where if you get frustrated and tense, it makes it 10 times worse, because you just like seize up and you're squeezing hard on the rope, using more wrists rather than you should. Then it's like, that's only going to make, and that's your choice to get annoyed, and that's only going to affect you. Like, at the end of the day, the judge isn't going to matter. And at the end of the day, they're volunteers, and they're bound to make mistakes.
It's true.
Without them, the events wouldn't be able to run.
If what in that scenario with the judge and the double unders, for me, I would count my reps. Say they cock up on the first round, I would then be thinking, right, okay, they've cocked up here, so they obviously struggle to count double unders. Again, this is really hard to think in the moment, but for the next round, like, every kind of significant number, like 50, I'm going to shout it out, so that then it's kind of like 50. So then the judge is like, oh shit, like, they're counting as well. So, that kind of, even if they're slightly off, you've got a better idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Or even just like saying to your judge beforehand, like, can you make sure you count like out loud every 10 or every rep?
Yeah. We all know counting double unders is a right.
Oh, it's a nightmare. And then I feel for anyone who judges all day and they're counting like 300 double unders. You got that head bop on.
The quarterfinals and semi-finals over the years, when I'm like counting Ella, Jen, or whoever, Reggie, whoever, and you're like, fucking hell, I can't mess this up.
Yeah, that's it. It's a lot of pressure.
Then what about Ronnie then? What about Ronnie? So he's a bit newer, isn't he? To the squad and stuff.
He's new into the squad, say like the last 2 or 3 months. So really, it was just and it was his first big individual comp. I think his first individual comp as a whole.
Okay.
So really, there was like no expectations going in. It wasn't a comp to like try and win it or try and win certain events. It was more just a comp to just A, get on the comp floor, and B, for me to see how he like moves as an athlete. Because although he's sending videos on video feedback and giving me feedback on how he's doing in the workouts, you can't beat like watching someone in person go. You just get way more feedback from it. So it was just good to see how he like approached the workouts and moved in the workouts, but then B, like when things didn't quite go his way, just like coming away and just being like, look, Ronnie, like this is your first competition.
Yeah.
Like you're allowed to make these mistakes. That's completely fine. Like maybe making slightly bigger jumps on the list than he should, or like his handstand push-ups and his handstand walks under fatigue just like weren't quite there. But then it's like, you've only been focusing on this for the last 2-3 months. Like this is going to take time to develop, and that's okay. And he still had a really good performance coming second overall. So it's like, become second overall with all these learning curves. Like, that's a pretty exciting position to be in. It's like you're the second best or one of the best teams in the country, and we've only just got started on this, and there was like quite a few mistakes he made over the weekend, which he himself was like very good at being like, oh, I need to work on this straight away without me even, he would like come over and be like, I need to work on this in future. And he was like, oh, when we go back to program, I know exactly what it's going to be. And he was like making a joke about it. It's going to be handstand walks under fatigue, lifting under fatigue, this under fatigue. Is that I feel like, and that's the thing with like doing it in training to doing it in the competition. You don't realize the toll of 4 workouts on day 1 is going to have on day 2. And then it's just like knowing that, what changes to make because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. How, like off the back of the week, because you program for those 3, off the back of the weekend, like how obviously the athletes will know some stuff that they like need to work on going forward. But then how do you kind of communicate to them in the program going forward? Do you know what I mean? And do you kind of highlight what it is that based from the weekend that you're going to get kind of double down on, or
so after the comp, I had chats at all of them and was having chats like throughout the weekend with them, and then we obviously have the camp this weekend where we have our check-ins, and that's sort of like where we go through the next phase. And if we want to target another comp, or if we want to try and target maybe semi-finals, maybe even making the games next year, and just breaking down like, is there anything they think like needs work on, and then so it's like they're developing their knowledge of themselves as an athlete on the whole, and then like giving my opinion on what we should work out, and then just having that back and forth with them on being like, just having a clear picture of, all right, it's like, although we won the strength event because it was a snatch sort of thing, our clean numbers or our squat numbers aren't quite where they need to be. Let's like really try and push that up. And like, especially with Seb and Ben are pretty similar, and then Ronnie's like the opposite, where it's like Seb and Ben are pretty much like world class at gymnastics, and they're slightly smaller athletes, so just like, and that's why like the nutrition seminars that we have at the comps are so important, because it's like giving them the education and the support on the things outside of training that they need to work on.
Yeah.
Which is just so valuable at their age. And even just like not going too nitty gritty into like, oh, you've got to weigh every calorie. And like at that age, it's just like having a healthy relationship with food is way more important than tracking your macros or everything. But even then, just educating the athletes, but then B, also the parents, because for the most part, it's going to be the parents that are cooking the food and feeding them. So educating them both on what like their diet should actually look like, because especially in school you get like, you're not allowed to have sugar, and it's like sweets are bad and Lucozades are bad, and it's like, obviously you don't want to cram them full of sugar, but it's like if they are training for an hour and a half sessions, it's like you can't just be doing that off.
It's true.
Yeah,
That was again for Evie kind of doubled down and really worked on that with Luke for No Rule Nutrition, before the games. But Lewin again, he had a call with Luke with a little closer and kind of confirmed what I was thinking is that Lewin actually wasn't eating enough for how much he's kind of training and he's got everything else going on and he's obviously made some good progress with his strength, but I think it's just that realization that, oh, like I actually have to eat a lot, and this is how much I actually have to eat. And again, it's not like we're not counting calories or anything like that, but it's just a case of eat this bit more. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah, you need a little bit more protein to recover, or a little bit more carbs around your sessions. But yeah, and it's just like, and that's the key thing you said there. It's like not going too nitty gritty and then just enjoying it. It's like, although like they want to be elite athletes and stuff, but it's like hammering home that at this young age, it's vital that you like are enjoying your training, you are enjoying your food, and just the process and the journey.
I think the other one is though that if we've kind of given the foundations of like what they need, but the door's always open for, if they do want to go more all in on something, whether it's like the nutrition or, like maybe the ins and outs of like the phase or something a bit more to do with like movement and how you move on when you're weightlifting, like the door's open for them to kind of ask that or, find out more if they want to. And I think that's really important to understand is like, if you're not sure, ask. But if you are interested in it, like, don't be afraid to ask as well.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely times when I was younger where I maybe did want to know a bit more, but I kind of felt a bit too shy too. Do you know what I mean? Because I thought it was a bit silly, when in actual fact, it's like, I want you to, because I know that's going to help you a little bit more if you
understand. Yeah. And like, there's obviously different athletes. Like some athletes, it's just like, this is your program, go ahead, they do it. Like they don't need to know the whys or the ins or the outs or anything. It's just like get the head down and work, and just like workhorses. But yeah, some people prefer and do better if they know why they're doing something, not just what to do. And yeah, like you said, like offering them, they have that option, and they have that option to work with outside experts. But it's like we provide like the basics and the information that they need to be successful in training, and then also like to grow, hopefully, as like people outside of that as well. And that's another thing I think is cool to see, or I've definitely seen in the youth athletes at the camps, is like they're growing in confidence.
Yes.
Like each camp they come to, and I think this is the coolest thing about the youth squad. Is like, I'm not going to name names because they might not want me to, but just like seeing them come to the camps and they're like a bit more lively, they're getting amongst it, maybe chatting having a little bit of banter with the other squad members. And it's like 2-3 years ago, they were like dead silent, would come in and like not really say a word to anything or anyone. So I feel like that's the coolest thing, is to see them like growing and developing in their own rights.
So we've covered the lads there.
Yeah.
And then you were coaching Orla over the weekend as well.
Yeah.
How was it with Orla? Because again, she's like new to the squads this year as well. But you don't kind of work as closely with her, like you don't program for her at the minute. So yeah, how's that kind of relationship when maybe you don't know the person, potentially as well as what you do, Ben or, Seb? Was it any different? Yeah. How did it kind of go with?
No, it was really good, to be fair. And yeah, it was nice to get to know her and to get to know the parents as well better over the weekend. Because obviously when they come to the camps, we don't really speak to the parents as much. It's more about the kids. So yeah, speaking to the parents as well and developing that relationship, I think, is important as well. But with Orla, she was like, to be fair to her, she just like didn't hold anything back, or like if she was nervous, she said, or if she's struggling with a certain thing. So it's like she's good at kipping pull-ups, but struggling with butterfly. So it's like, well, let's have a go at that, see if we can work it. But if not, like, it's no worries sort of thing. We'll just go back to the kipping. And yeah, she was like really open and honest about that, which I thought was pretty cool, because obviously talking to someone who's a bit older that you might not know too well can be a bit scary sort of thing. So it was nice that she felt she could open up about those things. But yeah, she performed well all weekend, and then it was just like identifying again, like, okay, we're strong on a barbell and we've done well in that workout, and then it's like, maybe let's like now focus in your training back on, even though I don't program for her, it's like giving her little things she can still take away into her training. Let's try and get these butterfly pull-ups nailed for the next comp sort of thing, or let's try and get handstand walks under fatigue like nailed down, and just giving her like little snippets of information, both from the warm-up area and then in performance on the floor.
Yeah.
Little bit of actionable feedback she can take away.
For Orla, actually, on the weekend, like, for you, what was the most like impactful like advice that you felt that you gave her? You know, was there anything that you felt like, right, I really kind of need to make sure I get this message across? Or I don't know, might be specific, might be kind of broader. Yeah,
I think the most impactful one, she might say otherwise, but with the fact that it's okay that she can't do butterfly pull-ups, I think she was like a little bit worried that she couldn't do the butterfly pull-ups. But I was like, well, like, not everyone will be, for one, and that's okay. And that's something like work on outside of it.
Yeah.
But for now, it's like, let's focus on what you can do. You're good on the barbell afterwards, you know, like that's where you can make up the time, and not to worry about, like, she's not going to get like proficient at butterfly pull-ups in one weekend. So it's just like, just still do the best you can.
Yeah.
Attack the butterfly pull-up, the pull-ups as much as you can, and then try and make that time back up on the barbell, because you know that's where you're good.
And that's obviously, like, she podiumed on the weekend as well.
Yeah. So everyone who's there was who was there at podium, which is pretty cool.
Was there anything that kind of like stood out from like for Orla over the weekend that you were kind of like, that was bloody good, that? Or
yeah, she's good on a barbell, and she, like, you could see that she wanted to hit. I know that it probably sounds a bit, probably phrase that wrong, but where it's like there was like a workout with like 9 hang clusters in, and like most of the other girls were breaking that up into like 3-4 sets, but she was just holding on for pretty much 1 or 2 sets throughout the entire workout. So just see that, like, that grit and that grunt in here was pretty cool to watch.
It's one of those as well, like, it's hard to teach that.
Yeah.
Like, it can be learned as a skill, but it's like, it's hard to like going, you know, being able to dig in, being able to like have that grit to just kind of get through the pain. Like, a lot of people do struggle with that. But if you've got it, you've got a head start.
Yeah, that's it. It sets you up for success later on down the line, for sure.
Kind of coming off the back of the weekend then, you kind of obviously saw a lot more athletes than just kind of those 4 that you were working with. But what kind of stood out to you that you think would make the biggest difference between the athletes who maybe made the podium and those who missed out? Like, what was like the separator? Like, maybe it's more than an inch. Maybe it's like a.
I won't say that. I wouldn't say it's more than an inch, but I think the two main things for me were learning how to strategize and pace workouts. Like, the amount of, like, maybe got a little bit too excited or too caught up in the moment. Did the first set 21 toes to bar unbroken, the third set was in sets of 3s and 4s, and it's like, if you'd just maybe broken it up into 3 sets, you probably could have maybe been like racing the top athletes, and it wasn't even necessarily a fitness issue, but more just a strategy issue.
I'd probably say with that as well, like I bet quite a few athletes there did not probably know that they should break it up.
Yeah, that's
like it's the emotional intelligence and that control to be able to like not do it. Which
you see everyone else going, it's like, oh well, I have to hold on to, sort of thing.
Yes, so like Ben's a really good example of that, where a couple of months ago, it's like you suggest to him how to break up failure ring muscle ups, and then he goes for a humongous set, and it still does really well, but probably not as fast as he could have done. And a couple of months later, he's like learned his lesson to be like, oh, actually, if I am a bit smarter here, I can go much faster. But it's developing that emotional intelligence and control, which again is a game changer.
And that's it. Like most people just doing just from doing workouts, you don't learn strategies and pacings if you don't do that in your training.
Yes.
Like if you just do workouts in your training all the time, but like not analyzing like what sets you broke it up into or how long certain movements took you, you're not going to know when it comes to competitions, and then you can't make those informed decisions.
Yeah.
Like doing that in your training, what like the saying is, train hard, compete easy, and that was literally what Ben did. Like in his training, he might go unbroken, but it's like he's learning then where his capacity is at and where its level is at, and then in the competition itself, he was able to strategize and then knew where his capacity was at.
Biggest lesson you took away from the weekend that you think every aspiring young athlete needs to hear?
Biggest lesson.
Maybe it's what we just talked about.
Yeah, I think.
Or is it have fun?
Yeah, I think there's multiple. I know you said one biggest, but I think and enjoy the process for sure. Learn from your mistakes and your failures, and that it's okay to fail.
Yeah,
it's okay to do bad in a competition. It's okay to have a bad event, but then it's taking it from an analytical point of view and just being like, well, what do I need to do now? What do I need to focus on? Especially if it's your first time or second time competing, or just any time for youngsters. It's just like taking it as a lesson and a learning curve to improve. And then also just celebrating the wins as well when they come. If you hit a PB, give yourself that pat on the back and be like, oh, I actually did pretty good there.
Yeah. For the parents and coaches in our community, what is the most important role a coach plays on competition day for a teenage athlete? Is it different from coaching an adult?
I would say with youngsters, it's more about dealing with like their nerves and like just normally calming them down, to be fair. Like they're just like a bit angsty. They might forget like bring their food or that they need to eat and stuff like that. So it's just like bringing them down to earth a little bit, maybe having a talk with them, a laugh with them, and just like, just making them feel not the pressure of the competition.
Okay. Based on what you saw at the weekend, what is the one area you think CrossFit athletes in general need to work on the most? And this might be more like an actual physical thing, like across the whole,
Yeah, I'd say movement efficiency.
Okay. Because we've chatted, we kind of had a meeting earlier in the week, didn't we? And you said there was like a big difference from, first down to like fifth.
Yeah.
And it comes down to movement efficiency, you think?
Yeah, I would say the gap from first to fifth was more like just time in the sport and time. Like the 5th to 10th athlete might just go to their CrossFit teams class once a week sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like obviously Ben and Seb do it 3-4 times a week. But I think the thing that just underpins everything is if you're moving more efficiently and moving well, you're going to be able to express your fitness a lot better than other athletes.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else off the back of the weekend or that's coming up that you want to kind of let people know about?
Yeah, so we've got a youth camp this weekend in CrossFit Delta Fox. So keep an eye out for the vids on that. And then the next one is going to be the 29th to 30th of November. So if you are an aspiring CrossFit athlete or a parent of a young CrossFit athlete and you'd like to get involved, just drop us a message and be more than happy to have you at the camp. And then we are opening up squad intake for the half of the year. So we're only opening it up for the month of September and October, September through to October. So if you are interested in finding out more about the youth squad or joining on to the youth squad, then yeah, hit us up and we'll be opening it up for the next 4 to 6 weeks only. And then that's it for the rest of the year. Then you'll have to wait until next year.
Don't miss out. Do not miss out.
Don't miss out.
Love it. Well, thank you very much for your time, Pete.
No worries. It's good to have a little chat.
Yeah, good to get an insight into like the junior and youth scene, you know, in the UK as well. I guess it's pretty niche, but
and
again,
the other thing is like it's still developing and growing, and like these athletes are almost like setting the way and the standard for like UK CrossFit, and just growing UK CrossFit as general because it is not mainstream by any means. So yeah, just trying to grow and push the youth in CrossFit is pretty cool thing to watch and be a part of.
Very good. Thank you, Pete.
Nice one, Jack.
Lovely stuff. I'm pretty sure I've stopped recording now. So
hopefully. I haven't yet stopped recording.
I know, yeah, it usually does say it's thrown me off that. It does say recording still, but it's like, well, I've stopped recording. I've pressed stop record.
Like, just have to edit it in the outtake.
Yeah. Right.
How was that? Was that okay?
Yeah, it was good. It's good. Like I said, it's good to kind of get an insight into the scene really, because I think a lot of people will be, you know, a little bit unaware of like what it's like, what's going on. And it just brings that awareness that we are doing some bits.
When I was talking about the athletes themselves, I almost like, you know, when you're saying about their weaknesses and stuff, I didn't know if they'd be upset by certain things, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully not. I didn't want to like say they did shit sort of thing, and then
yeah,
it's like trying to do it in a positive way.
It is that kind of fine line, isn't it? Of like, you want to like share stories,
and tell the truth as well. I don't want to. It's just like
as long as it's like it's not like a personal thing either, is it? It's just like, you know. So I think kind of all good. If it had been the case where like something happened on the weekend and it was like quite emotional and stuff, I think a different kettle of fish. But I think what we kind of shared there is all good.
Anyway, hopefully no more messages.
Edit it all out.
Oh yeah, that's it. But no, it was It was a fun weekend, really fun.
Yeah, good.
Well, yeah, definitely want to like we said, try and get people to that UK team throwdown and 2 more competitions.
Yeah.
Do you have the details for
what the comp in October?
Yeah, comp in October and then also Worlds as well.
There's nothing for Worlds yet, other than like the date.
Yeah, because even if I don't think I'm Mark's best friend at the minute, but I'd still like to try and get out there if I can.
Okay. Cool. I've just messaged him about like how many spaces there are and stuff. So I'll see what he comes back with, and then I'll see if I can get a call set up with him to see what the crack is with Worlds and start planning that in a bit more detail and stuff. Because I think Fraser's going to go out because he's going to help with the teams.
Is it all in the same one? I thought they were different ones.
Youth team and like seniors. Masters are in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Yeah, just let me. Even if like there's not a role there, and I can still.
I can imagine flights to Lithuania are pretty cheap, to be fair.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and it's like in December, so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right then.
Right, nice one, Jack.
I'll speak to you in a bit.
Speak to you in a bit. Take care.